Hello. How was everybody's long weekend? Mine was great. I did a lot of driving for like one day of staying, but it was really good to see family that I haven't seen for a while. My kids had a really good time. I'm home now. Got to drive home yesterday through a snowstorm because lovely Canada can never make up its mind whether it's spring or winter. Had some really interesting energetics happen this weekend. Saw some really cool stuff. Really startling things, but really cool things because it's all about awareness, right? And what I pretty much came down to, and what I've always known, is it is okay to say no. You know, a lot of us with family don't want to say no to family because family's important and family's this and family's that. But if family is hurting you more than they're, supporting or, I don't want to say helping, but being with you on your journey, it is okay to say no and take a time out and back out of family situations. Because if you feel like there's a hindrance involved in any type of relationship, any type of codependence, any type of fighting, any type of, shit that's holding you back, it's okay to say no and remove yourself. And a lot of us really struggle with that with family because it's like, oh, family, families preach to be key. But there's a lot of toxicity in families. And toxicity is just, it's subjective, right? Because it's where we come with our awareness. And a lot of toxicity external shows something within us that needs to be healed. But sometimes family is just very overbearing. And I just want to grant you all the permission that it's okay to say no. If you feel it's not right, it is totally okay to say no and pull yourself out of a situation. Like, I feel absolutely drained right now. And, being tired and exhaustion it's not an energetic thing. It's like a 3D ego thing because we as divine beings, hello Sherry, we as divine beings and energetic beings, we flow energy from source. We flow love from source. So really we should never be exhausted. When we feel overwhelmed and tired, it's a lot of the time when energetic attachments take hold, when cords start to attach again that we're not aware of. And it's really funny. I had this situation come up on the weekend with family, extended family, where it was a bit of a debate going on, and it shouldn't have gotten heated. It was something so silly, but certain people really feel the need to speak their truth, but in a harsh and cruel way. And I literally, after this happened, and it wasn't really even involving me, but I was there. And because my system is so sensitive now and clear, and I'm out of any type of toxicity because I remove myself all the time, I didn't shield myself enough. And I was probably not grounded enough because I was really excited to see everybody because it'd been a while, and I had a drink on top of it. So it was like, I had to step out of the situation, and I felt it in my solar plexus. It's like I allowed somebody else's energy to tap into my solar plexus and pull it. And I was watching like this energy vampirism happen. And it was like, I had no control over it, but I do. I have all the control. But in that moment, it was almost like I was in shock, and I gave my control up. I gave my sovereignty up, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then my daughter, I'm not crapping you, about 3 hours after the situation happened, she started throwing up. And she feels very deeply. And she wasn't sick, and she didn't eat too much, and it wasn't food poisoning. She threw up, and then she was fine. And then she woke up in the middle of the night and threw up. And it was energy. Because when she was little, when she used to get really rattled as a child, she used to throw up. And I was like, that's all I could think of. I was like, holy crap. She sucked all this up. She transmuted all of this because she felt it on me, and I felt it on my mom, and I felt it where it came from. And it was like, it is so powerful. I was like, these entities die hard. They don't want to go away. But the worst thing you can do is fear them. And I found myself coming up with this internal dialogue where I was just like, nope, I don't want any of this. I'm angry. I'm mad. And then I'm like, no, this isn't love. What I'm preaching is love and light. So for me to get angry and be hateful or spiteful towards somebody's behavior is not in integrity with who I am at a core being. So I had to really pull myself out and center. And today I'm feeling it probably because I drove 7 hours in the last 14 hours in the last 3 days as well, back and forth. But I felt so wiped this morning. I was like, I need to clear my energy. I need to meditate. I need to go sit in the sun. As you can tell, look at my freckles came out. I went and sat in the sun for a bit today, soaked up some vitamin D, went and stood on my dirty lawn barefoot because it's still really dusty here because the snow is just, melted. But I'm like, I'm going to stand and I'm going to ground myself today. My friend came over and helped me do some cleaning around the yard, and we just got stuff done, and I feel so much better. And actually, I already feel better just doing this live and speaking. I've sometimes I forget when I'm in those places how much, because my wisdom, like sharing my wisdom, is my path. Like sharing and speaking to the masses is my path. And even when I've tried not to, it just happens. So when I come and do this, it's very healing for me. It's very cleansing for my energy system. So thank you for always listening to me and allowing me to share wisdom with you, because I love you all so much. And yeah, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent now. The main point of this live today was that it is okay to say no, especially with family. Because family can be so amazing, but they can be so draining too. And don't ever let somebody else make you feel bad for setting your boundary. Because sorry, my nose is running. People who love you, and they truly love you to a soul being, at the core, they understand if you need to pull back. And they should never force you to be involved in something, because we are all energetically different. And some of us, like, I'm a bit of an introvert. I'm like an omnivert. I have moments where I like to be very extroverted, but it has to be like a chosen crowd for me, right? Because especially now that I understand my energetic sovereignty, but I really like to be alone and alone with my kids. And I just kept hearing, from extended family this weekend, it's like, oh, family's important. Family's important. Why don't you do this? And why don't you do that? And I'm like, no, my kids are my family now. I love my parents and they're my family too, but what's important are my children. They are my family, and I'm not going to put myself in harm's way. I'm not going to put them in a place where they're going to be uncomfortable, because family is important. We're all here to do the best we can with what we have, and it's okay to say no. And I'm just going to keep saying that. It is okay to say no, because you are the most important person in your reality. Your energy is important. And if you have a really hard time regaining sovereignty and allowing yourself to be okay around certain groups of people, or be yourself and speak your truth around certain people, don't put yourself in there. Because you know what, if they're not, it's the people who feel the need to force their opinions down your throat and they can't see anything else or hear anything else. Those are the ones who, really need to take a look inside. Because I can sit there and I can listen to other people's opinions and, take their truth to heart, because that's their truth. There were some things that were said that I really didn't agree with, but I'm not going to fight it. I love these people, and I love people in general. And we all come from a place of our own truth because of the things that we've lived through, the places we've been, the things, where we've lived, how we were raised. I love being alone with my kids too. It's a great thing. Hey, Catherine, it's just awesome. But yeah, just, you are important, and your sovereignty is important, and your energy is important. I'm sure you can see it in my face. Like, I've just been wiped. I'm like, oh my good God, like, how did I allow this to happen to me? I'm supposed to be this person who is so aware, and I am aware, but it still happens. So this is why I wanted to come on today and say, if you feel like somebody's pulled the rug out from under you from a interaction, it's okay to feel like shit after, because we are still humans. Even though we are these divine souls, we're still living in a 3D human existence, and there's going to be days where you just need to take an adult time out. I need to take lots of adult timeouts. It's just like, holy crap. I'm going to pull a card though. We're going to pull a card because I haven't pulled a card for a while. So we're going to ask Spirit, Jesus. We're going to ask Jesus today because it's Jesus's day, He's risen, Easter weekend. It's such a powerful time of year, that Christ consciousness. This is like the pure Christ consciousness right now. So Jesus, let's guide us to a card. And I work with Jesus a lot. And Phil Good actually posted something last week about how he was like always afraid to admit that he worked with Jesus because of the judgments out there and people being like, oh, well, how can you work with Jesus? And I work with Jesus all the time, and he's with me. I had this last year, I was raised Roman Catholic, and I love Catholicism. I love the background of it. I love the background of all religions. I study a lot of religious beliefs and dogma because I really like to understand it. And I went I went so far away from religion for so long because my life was so shitty for so long, and I blamed religion for not saving me because I'm like, I'm doing all these things how I'm supposed to. Why is my life still so shitty? And it was just about gaining my sovereignty and understanding that, you know, these divine beings like Buddha and Jesus and the ascended masters, other ascended masters and archangels, they're with us all the time, our guides, everything, and we just need to call them in to work with us. And I love it. So here's the card that popped out. Oh, I love this. Life talks to me. It's so beautiful. It says, I call out to God and God answers. I listen for the answer. Might be in the next lines I read, the next picture I see, in the next words I hear, or in the next person I meet. God is everywhere. And it's true. Everything's a blessing. And if we look at everything as stepping stones and, you know, guidelines to where we're going, like when I make a big decision in life or any, you know, every day I live by intuition. So if I follow the synchronicities in life or people who come into my existence, discernment is key, of course, but everything's a guideline and everything's a gift. So just remember that you're divinely supported and guided through life always, even when you feel like nobody is there for you. You are. Call your angels and guides in. I am the worst for it because I always forget to call them in because I've been so used my whole life to just being on my own and not needing anybody. So I try to make it a habit to call them in a few days a week when I'm in my meditation or when I'm praying or, you know, when I feel down. Like yesterday and the day before, I really called them in to be with me because I just felt like a puddle on the floor and I was like, why am I feeling this way? And all I heard was, it's okay, you're human and you're digging shadows out of yourself. The shadows are coming out for me to transcend and transmute these lower vibrational entities that are still in my system, and it's all a gift. Anyway, I will stop my babbling now. I love you very much, and I hope you had a wonderful long weekend, and I hope you have a beautiful Monday and week ahead.